Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very welcome. Well, it's Tuesday's request day. This is the longest waiting request map, so it's good to get it out of the way. It's been massively overlooked by me and by the workshop as well. It's only got 42 subscribers and it's worth a lot more than that. Now, it does have a rather quirky swamp. Yesterday we had a really realistic, believable swamp. Today's one is more quirky. It falls into fantasy genre. Actually, in the description it covers this as well, about fishermen being eaten by a mystery creature in the swamp. So I kind of will let the swamp go, but a few of you won't like it. However, the map as a whole is quite playable, quite nice, adds some interesting shapes to your city as well. I'm all for it. I am all for it, and I hope you will be too. But before we get for anything, let's get on with this. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Right, okay, let's crack on. Today's map is the Milnero Mountains by EanBez. So we've done EanBez just the once, back in episode 849, where they got 11 stars. Let's have a look at that start square. That looks good, doesn't it? That looks very good. Got the river, got the highways. Very nice, very nice, very nice. There's your terrain heights, a couple of mountain areas and valley, build plains along the coast. That looks interesting. We've got resources. Resources look like that. They're okay. They're okay. I can deal with them. Not the most exciting. Fishing. Don't find the fishing exciting at all personally, but I know a few of you do, so there it is for that. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, there's no DLC today, so that's a good thing. We'll be using Bisqueigelhausen's Bay Bridge there, and the network extensions too. We'll be using the Springwood map theme and LUT, and there's a few trees to subscribe to as well. Not too many. Not too long a description to read either. Now, normally you start off with the road. I'm starting off with the rail for creative reasons. Now, I will mention that there are a few of these trees that are just hanging on to the catenary wires. They're not too many, two, maybe three, and they aren't the worst offenders I've ever seen, but they are touching a few of them. Question, blue mantle or not blue mantle? Making decisions now, please. What do you think? A 3, a 2, a 1. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. I don't completely agree with the form of the terrain there, but there's no blue mantle, we can deal with it. And they say trees, just one or two of them, just clipping. Again, we are well away from the start square and you probably won't care too much. Now the rail is believable. Given that this is quite a hilly map, we are following a route that is, on the whole, believable. There's only one point, and I will show you where that is, where I just get distracted slightly by the hill. There might be some variations as we go along, but eyeball checks are fine. We've got this tunnel that comes through here, believable tunnel as well. It merges over here, and we're heading now down towards the river. Now, when we get to the river, for a short while, for a very short while, we're going to skip from the rail across to the national road, because something I'd like to show you. We won't be coming back this way later. Well, we will briefly, but not to actually look at the roads. And I want to point something out with the road. Again, not a problem actually for me, but I do want to make a talking point of it. We can discuss it in the comments. You can tell me how much you love or loathe it, and we'll all be happy. So let's switch across to the national road here as we come together. We've got two bridges that will cross side by side. Now, given that this is out in the country and it's a very modern national road, would you be investing in an expensive road? Oh, by the way, all these little rocks around here, it's a bit cluttered for me. Not really a big buyer into this, but anyway, would you be spending a lot of money on a very expensive bridge, or would you make do with the one that's been up for years? And I think you probably would stick with the one that's been there for years. I don't mind that at all. Quite neat, quite neat. Of course, it's going to play havoc with the traffic, and you do have some ongoing traffic going through here. So I would suggest, yes, you probably want to upgrade it yourself, especially as your city starts expanding. But as a little feature to start off with, I don't mind that one little bit. Coming down here, there's a little dirt track that goes down to the lake, and there's like a little burnt out shack, and of course the jetty as well for fishing. and it's fine. It's fine. It's not worth the detour. It's not worth the detour. It's a little nod to what everybody else does, and I think we've seen enough of those. So let's concentrate on stuff that we know is either interesting or good and interesting, or flawed, and there are going to be some flaws coming along pretty soon, so hang on in there. I wonder if you can speculate what they might be. I've just dropped the mouse a little bit there. Let's come back in with the move in again. Here's your terrain, and there's just a slight bit of elevation there that eyeball checked that one, and it was just noticeable. If it's noticeable, for me, it's probably a bit too steep, depending on the map, of course. And I've called this a fantasy map based on what the swamp is like and the backstory. So you might say, well, it's fantasy map, BonBon. You know, and it's not the worst. That wasn't the worst hill we've ever seen, was it? Intersection here. Only thing I would change here is I would go 2-lane roundabouts. It would help the traffic flow a little bit, I feel, or potentially, especially once you get Traffic Manager Present Edition in and start assigning lanes, and you'd be fine. You'd be fine with that. Okay, now you can see here we're heading towards Besquicklehausen's Bay Bridge, and it's notorious for being really, really good with traffic. You can get a lot of traffic through the Bay Bridge. So why have we got a backup of traffic? Well, we've got some stop-starts, you've probably guessed that, but we've also got a treat. We don't see this very often. When I say treat, not a good treat, bit of a giggle treat. We got the dolphins. The dolphin traffic, here it comes. And it dips in, and it comes out, and it has a little jump for fun. Whee! There it is. And again, the donut one. In she goes. Deep enough that even the donut is covered and pops out. And it's even more fun with the longer vehicles as well, as they sort of like get themselves back up. It's not the worst we've seen, but it is a little bit glitchy. And we are right by the start square, so that is something that will want fixing by yourselves. Having said that, it is a 2-tier bridge, and it's usual to use both tiers. That said, we've gone from 4 lanes into 4 lanes, or 2 lanes and 2 lanes into 2 lanes. Better seen from this side of the bridge, actually. You can see how the traffic is actually flowing really smoothly over here. So it is fixable. That's not a big problem. I was just surprised it wasn't used as a 2-tier bridge. It's not a problem, though. Under here, I'm going to make a mention of this. I don't actually have too much of a problem with one aspect. Having said that, we've got a little bit of glitchy, sorry about that, a little bit of glitchy of the on-ramp there. You imagine driving down here at 60 and then that drops away from you. That would take your heart out, wouldn't it? Not clever. But it's elevated roads at ground level, which I don't mind too much, because you can imagine that that is a safety barrier, stop you from going off the cliff and into the bay. So I don't mind it too much here. We'll see it a bit later on where I'm not so agreeing, but I quite like that. Anyway, start square intersection looks like this, which means we're at start square. Which means that we're going to be entertained by SvenBerlin and one of his old sets, which is upgraded and updated and made it look much more uniform. This is a great set. And I know some of these buildings look identical, but they're not. We'll have a look at that in a minute. But we'll better have a look at factoids because we're at that stage of the show. Okay, Napoleon Bonaparte died on this day, the 5th of May, in 1821. On the island of St. Helena. 150 years later, in 1971, his penis appeared for auction at Christie's in London. Guess how much it sold for? Go on, I'll let you speculate for a moment while we look at these buildings. I'll tell you at the end, okay? I'll tell you at the end. So anyway, yeah, it's a great set that you can use the painter mod to change the colours of the brickworks and sort of like spice it up to suit your city. And I was saying about you got the 3 buildings there with a little spiky bit in the middle there. They actually are slightly different from each other. If we come back down in here and have a little look, so you see, just look at the window patterns there. The window patterns are different from that one to this one, and then if you go to the next one, very different to the next one. All very tidy. All very tidy indeed. Residential House Pack Colour Variations by SvenBerlin. That's a great set. And the answer to today's question, how much did Napoleon Bonaparte's penis sell for? It didn't get a single bidder. Oh man, can you imagine? Oh dear. And don't ask me. Just don't ask me. I have no idea. Anyway, a little bit of weeding to be done there. A little bit of weeding. And then we follow the highways along. We're coming up to another intersection which has got a few talking points. Again, is it the world's worst issue? Well away from the start square, so you might not care too much about it. And that's fine. It's fine, but I've got to point these things out because it just makes it fair on everybody else in the past who I've pointed out minor little problems for. These are little things that if you just fly over your map, if you make a map, why not fly over it like I have and just look for things. In fact, leave the map for a couple of days, come back in 2 days' time, and then things that you didn't notice then, you'll notice later. Yeah. Anyway, we've got the elevated roads at ground level, which here just look a bit weird to me. I think I'd rather those been just like a ground-based road. It just doesn't work for me at all there. We've got a little bit of stop-start traffic here as well, and a very noticeable bit of road glitching there. That's not very pretty. And then if we head down this ramp here, we've got a little bit of terrain glitching down here. Where was it? Oh yeah, a little bit of tiny weeny bit of road terrain. Not an issue really, that one. And then I will point out we've got a little bit of a cutting issue here. I'm not buying into the shark's teeth. I don't mind the cliff on that side. Could be tidied up a little bit. But the shark's teeth on the other side just look wrong. I think it should be smoothed out a lot. In fact, the whole thing could be smoothed out. Look a lot nicer. But it's a nice intersection. Very nice. In terms of route, I did think that maybe the routes could be moved across. I might put the terrain lines back on. Yeah, but take it around that way, I thought. But the more I looked at it, the more I figured, actually, it would still cost you a fortune to dig through the tunnel if you went through that lower part. So I'm thinking, actually, the route taken there by EanBez is the right one. You couldn't go down any further because that would mean dropping off of that plateau onto the coastal plain, and I just think actually the route is spot on. And I was going to make a big thing about, oh, you could better route than that. No, you can't. That's a good route. Oh, edge of the map. New intermission time.
Do you watch BonBonB with your morning coffee? Do you want to feel closer to the show? Then you need either the modern or retro mug from BonBonB. Click the information button now.
And so back to the Milnero Mountains by EanBez and the shipping routes. Yes, straightforward, simple, clean, fair, honest shipping route. Just bends around like that. It's fine. Okay, then we'll have a look at the water flow. Now the water flow, yesterday we had what looked like a tidal map. Yeah. Here we've got water flow again, pushing out from here, pushing out into the bay, and that is absolutely fine. Goes through the start square, no issues at all. And just show you there is water pushing down through the start square there. That's all good. But if we were to go back up and inland, you see this river coming down here, which is obviously feeding that river there. That comes down and it splits in this lake, and you have water going off in two directions. And I'm not buying it, I'm afraid. I'm not buying it. It pushes into the marsh there. We'll have a look at the Marshy Swamp in a moment. Promise you, you'll either love it, or wait, you'll either hate it, or you'll accept that it's a fantasy map and you're okay with it. I wouldn't say, I don't think anybody's going to love it. Yeah, there'll be a few people that won't like it at all. Anyway, we've got plenty of buildable space down here. We've got the coastal plain. We've got a plateau just a little bit higher with a reasonable slope transition between the two. That's really very nice. Plenty of build space. Plenty of build space. That's the important thing. Then you can push up through the valley here, and there's room to build in the valley, down the side valley on the right hand side there you can get into as well. And then it pushes on again up towards the swamp. Now, the swamp I have one big problem with that we'll get to, but it looks, at first glance, it looks amazing. Look at this. At first glance, that looks as good as yesterday's, yeah? But it's the choice of foliage. That's what's going to kill it for some of you. Yesterday's was very realistic. Today's is somewhat fantasy. Remember, there are fishermen going mysteriously missing to creatures. But yeah, we got the drowned trees. And accepting it's a swamp, so I'm going to accept these. But the choice of trees isn't a realistic selection for me. But again, it's from a distance. You won't be building over here. It's probably okay from a distance. But I do have a big problem with this swamp. You'll see in a moment. You'll see. And it really mars the entire map. But I'm going to overlook it. I'm going to overlook it. When it gets to the ratings, I'm going to overlook it. But it's really borderline, I tell you. So yeah, we've got an abandoned cottage there, which Swamp Thing was obviously living in. But there is the problem. Right there. We've got foliage pushing up against the edge of the map, and that stretches it. These prop foliages. That stretches it up into the sky. Now, it is easy to fix. I mean, I'm just going to move it, and I'll just grab one at a time to start off with. So if I move a few of these out, you can see how it's thinning out. Yep, and of course, you don't have to move one at a time. You could grab the marquee tool, and I mean, like this. I'm just going to grab a few together. There you go, move them all away. That's how easy and quick it is to move it. But how far away do you think that mars the view? Because look how tall that is. Well, let's pull right back until it disappears. Right, moving across the map now. Probably about halfway across the map now. And now maybe about 3/4 of the way across the map now. And it's still there. Again, if you're playing this as like a vanilla rule, 9-tile buy-in map, you'll never get to that. You'll never be able to fix it. And it'll be behind the hill, but it will still be there. And you'll wonder what it is. If we go right to the corner of the map, let's fail. We're right against the edge of the map. Let's go right to the back, as far from that as we can get. And you can just about still see it in the fog. Well, admittedly, I've got the fog switched off mostly. But yeah, that for me is a bit of a pain. The island, I love the island, okay? For me, it's not a bonbon island. I don't know why I wouldn't want to live on here. Perhaps it's just a little bit too undulating. I like the distance. I like the shape. I like the fact we've got beaches. A little criticism, though, of the beach on this side especially is the height of the sand. Look how far that comes up. And if we put the terrain lines on again, we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 meters. I don't buy it, especially at that shape and at that angle facing towards the coast. I don't believe it. Maybe on the other side. Maybe on the other side, if it was a really windy, like coastal area. Oh, and of course we've got the essential lighthouse right the way down here, and I'm okay with that. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's perfectly fine. Right, I think that covers everything. What do you think of this map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. What do I think? I genuinely don't know. We've started off so strong this month. We might have a lot of good quality maps. I'd like to see it in there, to be honest with you, but I don't know. Aesthetically, overall, I kind of like it. Accepting this is a fantasy swamp. It's for me, it's a low 4. I very nearly flipped it down to 3 stars because of that bit on the edge that needs cleaning up. But I'm going to call it low 4. I think it just earns it. Just. Detailing, it's some good areas, but there are just a few too many areas that need cleaning up and question marks on a fantasy swamp. I don't know. I'm going to go 3 stars. It's a high 3. Gameplay potential. I think it's very playable. There's a few bits that you want to clean up and tidy up as you go. It's a 4-star map. I don't think it's a high 4, but it's definitely it's a playable map. I think you can have a lot of fun with this. Plenty of options in ways you can take it on anyway. The Milnero Mountains by EanBez. 42 subscribers. It deserves more. It deserves more. Is it perfection? No. Is it a lot of fun? Yes. Yes. Is it flawed? A wee bit. Good work though, Ian. Very nice. Very nice. Keep it up. Keep them coming. 11 stars twice in a row. Next time, seal of approval. Yeah, deal? Deal. You've got to uphold your part first though. Make it seal of approvable, yeah? I've been BonBonB. You've been very, very welcome. Join me tomorrow for another map in the What Map series. Thanks for watching, and I'll expect some mug orders if you don't mind. Thank you.